Bill, I'd like to delve more into the aspect of LEI, legal entity identifier, and how much it's impacted by the MiFID 2 and MiFIR requirements. LEI has been around for a few years now. How much will it be expanded because of MiFID 2 and MiFIR?
Yeah, it's going to be expanded quite substantially. The reporting requirements as they are today, where an LEI is required, is usually around the derivative space. So there isn't any regulation that exists today that requires an LEI to be reported as part of a transaction for equity and fixed income transactions. So MiFID 2, when it comes in, will be the first time that a requirement is there for an LEI to be included on an equity and a fixed income transaction.
Are there any statistics about how much more LEI will be needed in the market?
There's about 500,000 LEIs that exist today, and we've heard numbers around the 1.5 million mark. So there'll be another million LEIs needed by that January 3rd deadline.
And those estimates are coming from the broker-dealer segment, who have quantified the size of their client community, because the LEIs will be required for both the investment managers and the funds which they manage. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The requirements, as we understand them, are that the broker's going to need to know an investment manager LEI, so who they're trading with, who's executed the trade. That's where they will have a reporting obligation.
Yep.
The investment managers themselves, they will also need to know their underlying client's LEI. And that's a new requirement for them, and something that they're going to have to start to do from early next year.
And as we heard earlier, they may have to report those transactions themselves rather than rely on broker reporting.
That's correct,
to take place.
Yeah,
Okay.
Our understanding is the investment manager is going to have to do that reporting.
So the additional million is driven by the fact that this is an equity and fixed income market requirement, and there's a much bigger community of players in that market versus derivatives, which is where it's been before.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Right. Okay. Now there is a commonplace slogan that's being used by many of the broker-dealers. No LEI, no trade is the slogan. It's catchy. What does it actually mean?
It goes back to the regulation and the fact that there is going to be a reporting obligation for both the executing brokers and the investment managers. So on January the 3rd, 2018, when this regulation comes into force, if there isn't an LEI trade there, because there are reporting obligations, then the brokers will not be able to fulfill them, the investment managers will not be able to fulfill their obligations. So I think between now and the end of the year, there'll be a real push to get all of the funds or the investment managers that don't have LEIs to apply for them and share that information, so that when we get to January the 3rd, there won't be any problems with the reporting obligations. I do think there'll be some missing, so we will get to the point where that phrase, no LEI, no trade, it will be used. You know, we haven't got your LEI, we can't do any transactions for you right now, or for that particular account.
There are markets around the world that have existing requirements that are identical, aren't they? Investor ID has to be provided up front at the point of order. So this isn't an entirely new process, is it? No,
and I'm sure all of those players will be used to that from those markets, mostly in the Asia Pac region. But that is something that it's going to apply now to a much bigger range of markets. Any European security that is traded is going to need to have an LEI for the underlying fund. So,
and that's extraterritorial?
That's extraterritorial.
So wherever you are in the world, whoever you are, you're going to need an LEI if you're trading, holding, or going to trade a European equity or fixed income security.
That is absolutely correct, yeah.
Yes. Thank you.